Welcome to the Thought Leader Podcast. Get ready to hear powerful stories, unique perspectives, and bright ideas to impact the world in the areas of health, wealth, and relationships. We interview experts, authors, executives, entrepreneurs, and other industry thought leaders who share new strategies, practical tools, and best practices to accelerate your personal and professional results. This is the Thought Leader Podcast. And now, here's your host, Elena Fernandez.
Well, hello, thought leaders. Here we are again at the Thought Leader Podcast, and I have a fantastic guest today. Her name is Peggy O'Neal, and she has coached leaders for over 35 years after practicing law for 12. And she's a certified integral master coach. And she also holds a Juris Doctor from the University of Arkansas. So we are in the presence of a true legend and leader today.
Thank you, Elena.
Yes. And Peggy, you were also Assistant Attorney General and Arkansas State Purchasing Director for Bill Clinton when he was Attorney General and Governor. And you also served in President Clinton's administration. So that's really, really a cool fact. And one thing that I want everyone to know about Peggy is that she works with professionals who feel that something is off. So raise your hand if you ever felt that. And also helping people who know that they're not living the life they should be. So we're going to learn a lot about that today. Integrating wisdom, teachings, and science, how Peggy is going to help us free ourselves from the illusion of separation that keeps us limited, and so that we can live truly authentic life. Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Peggy.
Yes. Hi, Elena. I'm so excited to be with you today.
Oh my goodness, I am so excited. I've been waiting for a long time to interview you. And let's get right into it. So as I mentioned, you have been coaching for more than 30 years after practicing law for 12. So then what I understand is that 5 years ago, you had an experience that transformed your life. And I would love to hear about that, how that has changed how you coach and work with people. And how would you say that has transformed you, and maybe share even of some of the outcomes that your clients have because of that?
Yeah, well, thank you for that question. Yeah, so I was studying the great wisdom traditions because I'd been on my own journey about feeling like something was off, and I was really trying to get to the bottom of that, if you will. And so I was studying the great wisdom traditions, and in that process came across an insight that just really changed everything. And the insight was that I already am everything I'm seeking. It's already right here. And immediately I felt this incredible relief. Because in the coaching world that I was coaching in, it was always about getting somewhere, engage in more practices, exercises, and get there someday. And so I was really in the frame of reference, the context of you'll get there someday. Just keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. And that's what was making me so frustrated, and because I was doing everything right, and I've been at this a really long time. But studying them, it was already here. And so things like success, happiness, love, the things that we all want at some level. And if we get to the bottom of why do we want success? We want security, calm, peace, love. Well, we want love, and happiness. We want happiness, that sense of fulfillment, contentment, that all's right with the world. I'm living the life I'm meant to live. And so in that understanding, I mean, really, it was an immediate experience of it's already here. Now, what still has to be done is to align my life with that. But it's mainly, so back to how I work with clients around that now, is it's really an unlearning. It's an undoing. It's a removing of beliefs, thoughts, habits, feelings, that keep me from living as who I'm truly here to live. So that's
Wow.
what it was.
I love it. Unlearning and undoing.
Yeah.
That is powerful. And
Very powerful, because we're so
Yeah.
used to doing and adding on. And it's really a process of subtracting.
Amazing. Simplifying.
Yes.
I love it. Everybody take notes. I love that.
Yeah.
So that makes a total of 35 years of coaching experience.
Exactly.
And you work with professionals all over the world, which is amazing. So you, I'm sure, have seen different types of problems and situations that you have worked with clients with. So in that, what is the misunderstanding that you call the one misunderstanding, which is fascinating that there's one, only one. What is the misunderstanding that we all have, or most of us have, that haven't worked with you, right? That is the source of all our problems. And please explain that, and what that means for people, and how do you coach them beyond that, so that they can experience a breakthrough and that they can experience a difference in their personal and professional lives.
Yeah. So the one misunderstanding that, yes, almost everybody has is that we believe that we're separate from the universe or source consciousness. God's infinite being would be the religious name. The universe, infinite intelligence, infinite wisdom. We've all have a different word for what that is that we think is bigger than us. So our phrase. And so we believe we're separate from that. And so separate from the universe, separate from each other. So the separation carries on out, that I believe I'm separate from other people. I'm separate from myself. I'm separate from the world, from the earth. And it causes us to be unhappy. So us as individuals to be unhappy. Well, I just said individuals, but actually we have an individual experience, but we're not separate. We're not separate. So there's an illusion that we're separate, but in reality, we're not separate. And so this belief in separation then causes us to be unhappy, also causes conflict within families, conflict within organizations, conflict with other countries, the wars that we have.
Wow.
And it causes us to degrade the planet. This degradation of the planet that we're all witnessing is caused fundamentally by a belief that we're separate from the earth. And so we act accordingly. So to help people really see this, so it's not just a nice idea, a concept, because that was one of the things too that was so powerful that I discovered 5 years ago, is how to work with this in a way that it's not a concept, not just some nice idea, but it's a lived experience. And where to begin that is it's with what's called direct inquiry, where we turn back around, we look within, we become our own investigators. We're looking at what's our own experience rather than, in fact, I encourage people that are listening to me right now, don't believe anything I say. Go out or start now and start looking within, look within yourself, because that's the value of the sort of work that I'm doing now, what we're talking about here. We turn around, we go within, we do our self-investigation of our own experience of life and whether we're separate or not. And so it's called self-inquiry. Like, for example, right now, people can actually do a form of self-inquiry right now, in that everybody's hearing me, hearing you, they're hearing us right now, they're seeing us right now. And so as they notice that, where do they see in their experience, where do they see and hear us? And if they settle into it, most of us think, well, I'm hearing somebody out of the computer, or I'm hearing the bird in the tree, because that's what we've been conditioned to believe. Oh, the bird, listen to the bird singing in the tree. Isn't that pretty? And so we think, oh, the sounds, that the sound we're hearing is out there somewhere. But if we look at our own experience, where do I really hear it and see it? Right here. Our experience is here. So we can't really experience a separation. I hear it, but it's right here. There's not like a gap between I hear it and then the bird singing. There's a gap. Like I hear you guys, see you guys, and then there's a gap. So we can start realizing, oh, I can't separate myself from this in any way. If I'm seeing it, I'm experiencing it. I'm hearing it, I'm experiencing it. There is no separation.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And how did you find out? Like, what is that experience that led you here?
In 2007, I had been coaching for about 20 years at that point, after practicing law for 12. And so on paper, man, I had a great life. I'd worked with the president, I had great clients. I had a coaching certification. I had a law degree. I was making good money. I had great clients, lived in beautiful Healdsburg, California. If anybody knows California, Northern California, wine country, beautiful. On paper, looked good. But I was miserable. I was miserable. And, and part of being miserable as a coach, I'm supposed to know how to have the life that you want. So I also felt fake. I felt inauthentic. I was kind of afraid, would they figure this out someday, that I wasn't living, this happiness that I told them I could help them live. And so in 2007, I walked away from my coaching business. I said, I can't do this anymore. I felt so inauthentic trying to market really out of integrity, trying to market my services and tell people I could have them, help them be the leader they want to be, have the profession they want, and so on, when I didn't feel happy in my own life, content in my own life. And so that's what led me to this. So I walked away. Luckily, because I didn't have a big bank account, I wasn't self-sufficient financially. Luckily, jobs came to me, and so I had a great job in Singapore and came back to the United States. Job in another job opportunity to coach with a leadership company in Texas, and so life kept going along okay. But that's what got me on the journey. Was I want to know how to live the life that's real for me.
Yeah.
I'm so miserable, feeling out of alignment, trying to get myself into alignment. And so that's what got me to that place. And then now where I am.
Wow, that's amazing. And it's that inquiry process that you did that finally got you the results that you wanted to see.
Yes. So doing the self-inquiry, and so it's an ongoing process where you keep looking. There are various questions. So I know we're probably going to get to this, but I'll offer one of them now. That one of the exercises, if you will, that I'd like to support people on that are interested in this, that if you want to know who you truly are, and the great wisdom traditions and science says who we truly are, that we're this one being. That one of the places to look is to do that, the self-inquiry, and to look. And so one way to do that is to ask, am I aware? So right now, people notice that they're aware, they're hearing us, they're aware of this conversation, they're aware of what's happening. And then we can notice that we're aware that we're aware. We were able to say, oh yeah, I'm aware. Okay, well, what was that knew that I was aware? Now, this can be very challenging for somebody the very first time they hear this, try this, because our thinking mind, our thoughts are going to go, well, that doesn't mean anything. Of course, I'm aware. Of course. And so part of it is not listening to our thoughts in this process, but to sit there and sit with the experience of, okay, I'm aware. And I'm aware that I'm aware. And to sink back into that experience of awareness, that knowing yes, I'm aware, because that's who we truly are. Our essential nature is this vast, open, empty space of awareness, which is the one being that we all are. We're all made out of this awareness or consciousness, and we express in our own unique way the consciousness, awareness, the universe.
Wow, that's amazing. So, with you teaching and guiding your clients through this practice and these processes, what results do they receive after, or do they experience after integrating that insight that we are one, that we are not separate?
Mm-hmm. Well, to almost a person, they experience almost immediately what I did. This relief. Like, I do a lot of free workshops. And so even the introductory workshop to this, almost to a person, I go, oh, I feel such relief because people search for years. I mean, bless us all. We're so intent on wanting to experience this peace and this happiness that we are. And why do we seek it? Because it's a calling within us. We seek it, we think, and we've been conditioned that it's out there. We say, go find work you love, go find somebody that makes you happy, go find a job that makes you happy. So we've been conditioned to think it's out there. So we keep seeking. And so immediately it makes sense for people almost immediately. Oh, yeah, if I'm looking for it, there's a longing right here already within me. Oh, it's inviting me to return home to me. And oh, it's already here. So people start doing this inquiry, and then in doing that frees them up. Then they're more able to live the life that they really want to. So several people, a lot of people, realize what they really want to do with their lives. It starts opening because they're free now. They don't have to necessarily live in alignment with what society says to do, or the culture says to do, or what they think they're supposed to do. Like, if they're retired, they're supposed to do X, Y, Z. Well, maybe it's okay to follow your passion and to express that. Maybe that's what you're here to uniquely express. And so people follow their passion, or they're changing careers, and it opens up a whole new world of possibilities to be able to see opportunities in new ways, different opportunities than they've ever experienced in their lives come to them to explore. And then they realize, oh, this is what I really want to do, which they would have ignored them before because it didn't seem at all like what they were capable of, or what, based on their education or their past experience. Others, and I had this similar experience with some relationships. Others, over time, again, because there's an unlearning, we do keep up the self-inquiry. It's often not an immediate thing with some of the things that I'm talking about right now. So we keep up the self-inquiry and looking at ourselves and realizing that there are no others. And Ramana Maharshi is a guru that speaks that he's no longer alive, but he brought this direct path. This is a direct path approach to this. And he brought this to us. And so one time, one of his students asked him, well, how do we treat others? And he said, there are no others. And one of my clients said, oh, I'm always talking to myself. And immediately, he's an attorney and a shareholder in a law firm, major law firm. And he immediately realized, oh, I've been having challenges with a coworker, and it's because I've seen us as separate. So I'm trying to be right and make him wrong and all. And so as soon as he saw this, then he totally shifted his relationship, his perspective with this colleague. So he was able to start having conversations that were productive, more collaborative. And you didn't have to. So one of the big differences here you might be hearing is, oh, I don't have to learn a lot of techniques to create a collaboration. I have to learn a lot of techniques to how to listen to somebody differently. It starts occurring naturally. Our life starts naturally occurring in alignment with this knowing, just like it did for him. Just this one realization, he was able to be calm and peaceful in conversations and have a collegial conversation. And the same thing in relationships. One of my clients said, She really loves her family so much more than she ever thought was possible. And the same person used to think that happiness was a kind of a silly goal. I mean, how do you really have happiness? I mean, I buy a new car, I feel happy for a little bit, but it's going to come and go. And now she's been able to sustain this underlying sense ongoingly of being happy. Another one had a relationship with a long-term partner, a relationship partner, not a business partner, and that was always kind of, there's annoying quality to it all the time, and it just started going away, started totally dissolving. So now the things her partner used to do, that he'd say or that he'd do, they don't bother her anymore. It's just like, just doesn't even bother her anymore.
Amazing. And as I hear you think, saying all these things, I'm thinking, well, it improves career and professional life, and also relationships and personal lives. I am sure that it may definitely have a very positive impact on health too.
Yes. So people have started experiencing like that they have some ongoing pain. So people, when they do some of the other practices that we'll get to later, it just over time starts, the pain reduces. They don't experience the pain as often, or when they do, they use some of I'll go ahead and say, so another one of the practices that I'm going to offer today is something called relax the focus of attention. And what that means is when I notice I'm getting caught up in, so let's say pain, but we can do it with thoughts, or we're getting all caught up in maybe politics or politics in the workplace. We notice that we're getting all caught up in all of this. We can go, oh, wait, I see I'm getting caught up in all of this, or I'm really focused on my pain. Just relax the focus of attention. Remove the focus on thoughts, emotions, whatever I'm being concerned about. Just relax the focus of attention. And don't try to focus on anything. And you might notice immediately you're trying to focus on something again, because we're so used to doing that you just, again, relax the focus of attention. And then attention will go. Another thought will appear, but just keep relaxing the focus of attention. And then we experience, again, that awareness that we are, that peace, that openness. And we stay there. Keep coming back when a thought appears. Keep coming back when a thought appears. And so that's helped people with things like pain.
Yeah.
Or other things, or they'll have insights about their health because they're not trying to figure it out with their thoughts. They're relaxing and listening more for intuitions, for insights. And that's helped guide people with what to do next with their illness or their health condition.
That's incredible, Peggy. Wow. This is
I did want to add, sorry to interrupt. I did want to add around the workplace too. So to elaborate on maybe what somebody might be imagining at this point. So yeah, if I'm like the person in the law firm or other leaders that I've worked with, that when I start relating to people in the way that we're talking about right now, then I go into let's say I'm leading a meeting. I'm the boss, let's say, and I'm leading a meeting. Well, now I'm more relaxed in the meeting. I don't have so much of an agenda that's mine. And I'm seeing the other people in the room as other aspects of me and other aspects of the universe of consciousness. So I want to hear everybody, because I'm only one limited being, or one not limited. We're not actually not limited, but I'm one perspective of the universe, and there are 8 billion of us on the planet. So however many coworkers I have all these different perspectives. And so people start realizing, oh, this person's being more open now. It doesn't feel as controlled in this meeting, it feels more relaxed. And paradoxically, then people are able to contribute more. They're actually more productive, because when we feel like we're being controlled and judged and can get in trouble, then we're more careful, and we're more we don't feel as free to act and free to take action that we really like to. And so it's paradoxically when we create more relaxing environment, because we realize that we're all, one being playing together in the workplace, and it feels that way. It feels more relaxed, and people just do more because they want to. Now they just feel like they're accepted, and they just want to do more.
It's exciting.
It's very exciting when workplaces take this on. Exactly.
Yeah. And that, kind of segues into a question that I wanted to ask you about being a thought leader, because I think that, I want to know your definition of thought leader, but I think that this way of thinking and of perceiving the world definitely can impact the way we show up as a leader in the world.
Yes. So what's a thought leader? To me, yeah, thought leader is somebody that, as you're alluding to, how we show up in the world, that we're living in the world. It'd be great for thought leaders to be this way. We're living in the world knowing the nature of reality, that again, science says, and the great wisdom traditions say, that we're all this one shared being. And the nature of this shared being is love and peace, happiness, fulfillment, contentment. And that when we're living that way, we naturally feel that we want to be in service, that we care about everybody and everything. If I'm one, like if you're my lung and I'm your heart, we want to take care of each other. We naturally want to take care of each other. And by take care of each other, I don't mean it's kumbaya. We'll have differences of opinion. We'll have different things to iron out, just in a different way. We won't be at war with each other, but more with, well, I want to understand you because you're a different point of view. We're in this together, but from a real understanding that we're in this together. And so let's see, I got myself off a little bit there. So we are well, anyway, so that we're feeling more, so as a thought leader, then leading in the world in this way, that's what I was going to say. So then we experience that we're one with source, one with the universe, and we actually become more open to intuitions and insight, like what to do next with an issue at the office, what to do next in the world. We're naturally wanting to serve. So from a thought leader perspective, then I'm listening to the world, so to speak. I'm listening to the universe. What wants to arise? What wants to be shared? What wants to be brought into form out into the world? And I'm listening in that way. And that could come to me like it did with me. I was reading a book, so it came to me that way. It could come, watching a show, and then something just really strikes us like, that meant something to me. I wonder what that is, and investigating that. Or it could be just an idea out of the blue. In fact, I had an idea out of the blue. I had no idea what it meant. It was between the time I shut my business down, and the time I discovered this insight that I mentioned at the very beginning about the one misunderstanding and who we truly are, is that it just came to me one day while I was walking. The world could use more wisdom leaders. Not so many managers and regular leaders. And at the time I thought, what in the world does that mean? And I researched wisdom leaders, because that's out, and there are books about that. And I thought, well, I'm already doing that kind of coaching. So I let it go until I found the great wisdom traditions and everything we're talking about today. I go, well, that's what that meant. It just came to me out of the blue. So that's also how it could have arise for a thought leader. Something out of the blue. It might take a while for it to make sense. And so that's where then the thought aspect of it can come in, which is, okay, I've got these ideas. I'm feeling inspired. Something's coming to me. And then as it's coming and we're manipulating and massaging and thinking, what does this really mean? Then I'm using my thoughts to discover how to communicate it. How do I get this out there, maybe in writing, or how do I communicate it? And so the thoughts come in to discover, how do I express this and bring this out into the world?
Yeah, that's incredible, because you don't just touch on how the ideas are going to come to us, and we gotta listen, we gotta pay attention and kind of be in the question
Yeah.
What does it mean to me? So be open to receiving further instruction. But I like how you mentioned, let it come out of you. You gotta express it and share it because it's for the collective. Love it.
Exactly. Beautifully said, Alina. Yeah.
Love it. I love it so
I
much.
love
Yeah,
it
you're
too. Yeah.
amazing. And thank you for sharing these practices because they're really incredible. That I'm resonating a lot with them. And I'm sure that you've probably designed hundreds of practices for clients over the year. And I know that you want to share more practices with us for total that can help us experience that peace and love and happiness you that you talk about, and also meaning, but not just temporarily, consistently. So what are the other two, and what is the difference between these practices and the ones that are ephemeral, that are something that we feel occasionally?
Oh, uh-huh. So the other two practices, but I'll repeat what the first two were so that they're all together in one place. Is so the first one I offered, I think, was the first one. Anyway, self-inquiry, where we turn around and look within. Okay, I'm aware, and what is it that is aware that it's aware? So that's a great self-inquiry. What is it that's aware that it's aware of whatever's going on in the world? So that's that one. And then the second one was relax the focus of attention, where we notice we're caught up in whatever we're caught up in, thoughts, feelings, a situation. Just once people do this a few times, it can just happen like in a few seconds, where you realize, oh, I'm caught up. Maybe I'm disagreeing with a coworker or disagreeing with my significant other. Okay, relax the focus of attention and just stay there and let your attention, it'll go somewhere, but we don't have to focus on it. It'll go to a thought, it'll go to a noise. Just relax the focus of attention, and then we sink back into that awareness that in the first inquiry we discovered. So those are the two that we've been over so far. A third one to do is what I call merging meditation. So how that goes is that we would close our eyes and then notice, just notice our breathing, just become settled in our body, just with our eyes closed. And then notice that with our eyes closed, well, first, we have a memory of our body. If our eyes are open, we see edges to our bodies and we see our heads and all that stuff. But if we close our eyes and then forget that memory, let that memory go, and with our eyes closed, we can notice, without that memory of the body and the edges of the body, we cannot experience an edge to our body. We cannot experience an edge to our body. So with our eyes closed, we realize, yeah, and we can try. Now we might notice that our rear end is on the chair. There's pressure where our rear end is, pressure where our back is against the chair, maybe pressure where our hands are, and of course slight pressure where our feet are on the floor. We cannot find an edge to our body. In fact, everything is one seamless experience. Everything is one seamless experience. And as we relax in that way and notice, then we can allow ourselves to experience merging into the field around us. So we can do that like we did right now, just for just a few minutes, very few minutes, and just experience the one being that we are. And so it starts making it more and more real, because experientially, we with our eyes closed, we can feel that oneness that we are. So doing that just a few times a day can make it more and more real, this experience of oneness. And then the other exercise to do is sorry, I just thought of something else. So I'll go ahead and answer the other question you asked, like, how does this become ongoing instead of something something that makes it an ongoing experience instead of something you have to keep doing to experience. So at the beginning, it is like that because it's just something new. And it can seem like, I said a while ago, I said, well, we're not going to add on things. So at the beginning, it can seem like, well, wait, she said we weren't going to add on things, but now she's suggesting these practices. So a couple of things around that. One is we want to only do them when it feels natural to do them, when maybe everybody's writing them down now, and then maybe in a couple of hours, something occurs. Oh, wait, I heard something a while ago. I want to go do that again and go look at the list and remember. So we do it in a natural way. We're all used to practices. Okay, exercise this time of day, meditate this time of day, do whatever these times of day. And this is more of an allowing and allowing ourselves to be inspired, that we'll just notice, oh, I want to go back to that merging meditation for a little bit. So there's no real structure to it. And then as we do that over time, then all of this becomes more natural. It's like what we have to do for a little bit because of so much conditioning is it's like we've lived our whole lives with a clenched fist. And that just seemed natural. Well, of course, this is how you hold your fist. This is just natural. Then somebody appears and says, well, really, this is the natural way to hold your hand. Oh, it is. So for a little bit, it's going to feel like we're doing something because we're relaxing into. So these are more natural activities. And so as we do them a few times a day, as they come to us to do, then over time, we just naturally feel that we're one with the universe because we've let ourselves experience what is natural for us to experience this oneness. It's the conditioning because we've identified with this separate body. So we think we're separate, we think we're limited, keeps us small and limited and not very creative because we think we're so limited. I mean, think about it. If we're this finite, limited being in the whole universe, then who am I? I'm so small. But as we do these exercises and remember, I'm one with everything, and experience the merging, then we experience more expansiveness. So it becomes automatic to experience this expansiveness. And the awareness, we experience that awareness a few times a day for just a few minutes. And then again, it becomes more natural to sink back, to relax the focus of attention, to do all of these. And then over time, it comes into the foreground. This experience comes into the foreground, and all of our focus on activities and thoughts and feelings and drama in our lives starts going into the background. So it's just, they start switching places. So it's not intermittent that I feel one and aware, but they start switching places because I'm bringing them more into existence. And then the last, I'll pause. That made sense, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love this analogy, as if we're just allowing the natural. We're not really doing anything. I love it. Love it. Please tell us more.
Yeah. And so the fourth exercise to do is what's called zooming. I forgot exactly. I just called zooming out. Call it zooming out. And so sometimes in programs I put a name to it, and I don't remember what the exact name is I used the other day. So zooming out would be good. And so the opportunity here, because what we're doing is relaxing. We've talked about relaxing the focus of attention, sinking back into the awareness that we are by doing self-inquiry. So through all of this, what we're doing is we're relaxing the focus of our attention on our mind. We're really identified in this culture, especially with our mind, our thoughts. We think we are our thoughts. We say things like that all the time. I am a lawyer. I am a coach. I am a speaker. And we start identifying with that. And unwittingly, whether we mean to or not, we start thinking, oh, that's who I am, instead of this one being that we are. So we want to give ourselves the opportunity to stop identifying so much with the mind. And so everything we've done so far does that. And then another one is zooming out. So what do? What we do with that is that we can keep our eyes open, or you can close them, but it's good to keep them open, really. And what we can do is to allow ourselves to expand the focus of our attention. So again, because we're so identified with this body, we tend to be limited in our focus. We hear a few things, whatever we're paying attention to, we see a few things, but what we can do is expand, zoom out the focus of attention. So like right now, people can do that. Just notice what we're focused on, what we see in the room, what we hear. Just notice that. And then zoom out from there. Just zoom out the attention. Take in more. Expand. You don't have to move your eyes. Don't move your eyes. Just expand the focus of attention. Wider out. What else do you see? No, I mean, you're not trying to identify what else you see, but you're zooming out to see more. Notice what all you can hear by zooming out. Zooming out your hearing to hear more. And take in all that you can see, hear, taste, touch, smell. I get all the senses here: taste, touch, smell, see. You expand out. And you just keep zooming, and just experience this expansiveness that we are. And so that's the fourth one, the zooming out.
Wow. I love it. I love those practices. They're so easy. They can, they're free and they can be done anywhere, anytime. Hardly takes any time at all to fulfill them. And they really truly bring us to that awareness and that point of peace and happiness that you're talking about. And I wanted to ask you, since you're talking about identity, you're talking about focus, you're talking about oneness, and over the years, I know that you've seen more and more people that want to know their purpose, and that you mentioned that they want to also find more meaning in their lives and experience more meaning. And so how do those practices and what you teach and coach now help them do that?
You've been listening to the Thought Leader Podcast. At Thought Leader, we help experts, authors, executives, and entrepreneurs land the most credible and authority-building stages in the world to spread their message and their impact. If that's you, visit thought-leader.com and click on Schedule a Session to get started. Now back to this episode of the Thought Leader Podcast.
Yeah, and I've been hearing this more and more these days. People want to experience that meaning and purpose. And is this all there is to go to an office every day and work for somebody else? And so people often then want to change jobs or something and think that, and again, as I mentioned a while ago, what we've been conditioned to is go look for meaning and purpose. Go out there in the world, go find your meaning, go find your purpose. And when they do what we're talking about today, and I'll explain more to answer your question, is that sometimes people start experiencing, oh, I don't have to change anything to experience meaning and purpose. I can stay right where I am and express meaning and purpose. So that's one of the beauties of this, is that people start realizing that. So how does that happen? Well, once we engage with these exercises, as you're saying, they're easy and you keep doing them, and then it becomes more natural and we experience who we are more naturally. And then when we really let it sink in that we're one with everything, I'm one with everything, as that sinks in over time, we really experience that, oh, if I'm one with source or consciousness, awareness, the universe, by definition, I'm meaningful and purposeful because I'm expressing source in everything I do, everything I say. I'm always creating. Every conversation is a creation. Every movement is a creation. So, because every conversation, I've never said that thing before. So it's a creation. We're creating all the time. And so we start realizing, oh, I am meaningful. I am purposeful because I'm expressing consciousness. It's not a concept. Again, what I said a while ago, you do keep returning to this. So it becomes an experience. We experience deeply all of this. And then we realize, oh, yeah, I am meaningful and purposeful. And then when we're living in that way, then as we also talked about a while ago, ideas about how to express ourselves uniquely, or what we're here to uniquely express, what I often call a calling, those kinds of things can appear to us, arise in us. Or at other times, as we realize and really know in all our being that I'm meaningful and purposeful, how could I not be, that I'm one with everything, then it shifts how we are in our jobs. We realize, oh, I can be in service here. I can bring meaning into every conversation, every interaction. Just my being of knowing that I'm meaningful and purposeful will permeate the whole office space, or will permeate my whole family as I'm showing up, knowing I'm meaningful and purpose and filled with purpose, just by definition. And then that just deepens over time. The more that we allow ourselves to know this knowing, then it deepens. And so we're just yeah. So I guess I answered that. Did that clarify? Yeah. And then again, once I know that, then again, people relax, because again, we've been everybody's told, well, go find meaning, go find purpose. And so people relax again. Oh yeah, I can really see, of course, my life is filled with meaning. And then, but as we start living that way, then things fall off that aren't aligned, how we talk, how we are with people, our thoughts start changing, then that also makes it more natural to feel like we're being more meaningful in our communications and what we're doing. And other things can occur to us, like then we can be more open to hearing those nudges from the universe. They're saying, well, maybe this is the next direction to go for you. It's a sensing. People talk about signs all the time, or so it's that sort of thing where we start, or you referred to it a while ago too, that we can hear things we couldn't hear before. And so we can sense, I think I'm supposed to go in this direction. And we step into that, or give ourselves more permission to test out those places. And then that can inform a calling, can inform a new possibility. Or again, sometimes we realize I don't need to change anything. Now that I know this and feel this, I just want to be alive in what I'm doing. Joseph Campbell once said that he thinks people that are looking for purpose and meaning, that probably what they're really saying is they want to feel more alive. They want aliveness in their lives. And this just automatically starts bringing aliveness, because instead of feeling like, again, a limited, finite being and trying to figure out my way, well, now I feel aliveness because I feel that deep connection to everyone and everything. So I feel alive. And so again, more possibilities are going to occur to me, more possibilities of sharing, more opportunities for jobs or relationships or whatever it is that I think I've been seeking. But now that I'm starting out from a place of being happy and meaning and fulfilled, I don't have to have those things to do that. Now my relationships can really flourish. My career can really flourish, because I'm beginning from that place of happiness and peace and joy and abundance and aliveness.
Oh, that's fantastic. No wonder people experience relief,
Yeah,
because
incredible.
that sounds amazing, right? It sounds natural and it sounds effortless.
Uh-huh.
And so that type of integration is just beautiful.
Yeah. Now, I will say, speaking of effortless, that's a kind of a disconnect for people at the beginning. It's
Yeah.
like, because we still want effort. Well, I need to be doing something. I need to be efforting. I need to be, and so it takes a while again to orient and to let ourselves start believing that this is possible, because we think we've got to really effort at it, work really hard, all of that. And we might work really hard, but it's from a different context. Now I'm feeling inspired to work really hard instead of now I'm working really hard to get somewhere. It's just
Yeah.
so different that it's a natural way that we want to be in the world.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I can relate to that aliveness, even in the effort of it, that makes it just play.
yes, yes, exactly. Beautiful play for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
I love that. Well, and as you work with your clients, you have probably seen your share of things that do or don't undermine their so-called efforts, right? Is there anything, like one activity that you can share that could undermine all of their efforts in these practices?
Yes, there is one thing that can undermine all their efforts. And if they don't take anything else away from today, besides what we're talking about, their efforts to know and live as who they truly are, that they can still do this or take on this one thing, forgetting everything else I said, they can still apply this if they stay in life the way they always have. And that is not believing any of our thoughts about ourselves and about other people. Not believing any of our thoughts about ourselves or about other people. So what I mean by that is how often, not even how often is the wrong question, just we can notice that it's very often that we're saying to ourselves, oh, I'm not good enough for that, or I can't do that, or, oh, I shouldn't have said that, or, oh, I got to be better at that tomorrow, or, oh, I'm worried what the boss is going to say, or, oh, what if I hurt her feelings, or I think I just hurt his feelings, or on and on and on, this narrative about what we should or shouldn't have done, what we can and can't do, who we think we are, who we're not. And we do the same thing about other people. Oh, they shouldn't do that. They should have done a better job of this. They should have on and on and on and on and on. Don't believe any of them. All of those thoughts are intended to keep us separate, limited, and small. So I'll start with the separate part. If we're judging people all the time, now there are places for that. If I've got several people that are going to make a presentation before a potential client, and then I've got to assess, well, which one's doing a better job? But that's not a personal assessment. It's what's their behavior, which behavior is going to best align with what we need to get done here. Or if they're not performing a task well, okay, maybe that ought to be improved, but it's not a judgment. It's an assessment that they could do a better job with what they're doing, but it's not like, oh, they're doing a better job versus so doing a better job is about their behavior, but saying, oh, they're a poor employee is about them. So it's realizing that, and so any of those thoughts that are anything about the other person or ourselves. Oh, and then for ourselves, what did I say? Let's see. So so about others themselves or about ourselves. And so why not? Because we think, well, but I need to listen to those thoughts, because if they're telling me to improve or telling me I should have done this, except we can think about, well, how does all that make us feel? We feel terrible. We feel worse. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Separate. So that separates us from other people when we judge other people and our opinions about them and their good person, bad person, all of that. Or about ourselves, it separates us from ourselves, because now we're trying to, again, keep ourselves limited, small, separate from other people. Because if I'm not good enough, then maybe I better hide, or I shouldn't be around this person, or I shouldn't have this job. It starts keeping us separate from life. So we don't need to listen to any of those. Now, sure, if we have a thought, again, because it's not about us personally, that says, oh, there's a bus coming and I'm standing in the street, I need to get out of the way. Well, sure, we want to do that. But it wasn't about me and how I'm doing. It was about something that's occurring in the world. But we don't need to believe any thoughts. The biggest gift any of us could give ourselves is not believe any thoughts about ourselves or about another human being. Okay, well, then what do we do? All right, so if we're not listening to our thoughts, because maybe I just did something and I didn't do such a great job. Okay, but instead of listening to the voice that said, oh, you just did horribly and you should have done better and you didn't prepare much and on and on and on, just, again, relax the focus of attention. One of the exercises, relax the focus of attention. And then trust that something will come to me. Okay, next time, note to self, I'm going to prepare more. That's all. Now I don't have all that judgment, all that blame, all that guilt, all that shame, any of that goes with listening to our thoughts. But that will mess up anything in our lives. So that's the one thing I let go of, which can seem like real withdrawal for most people, because we're so used to listening to that running commentary about how we're doing, when all its whole sole purpose is to keep us separate, keep us limited, keep us finite, and protect us. So you might say, well, if it's telling me I should do better, protect it. Yeah, but it thinks its job is to protect us by keeping us from risking, keeping us from enjoying life. So that's what that's about. The protection is about keeping us, again, limited and small. It's not about helping us improve at all.
Yeah.
As a separate being, I mean, as a universal being, that's not what it's up to at all, because our thinking mind can't know who we truly are.
I have a follow-up question about that, because as you are talking about the mind chatter, and maybe I have a thought about myself that I'm doing really good, that things are going for me. So what about those type of thoughts that say I'm amazing, or whatever it is that sounds positive?
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. So that's an it depends answer. So what it depends on is, Peggy, you just did a really good job, or Alina, you really made a difference in that person's life. Well, we can tell that's like a heartfelt comment, an affirming comment. But if on the other hand I said something like, gosh, Peggy, you are more amazing than anybody there. You just did the best job of anybody there. Now we've got a thought that's about separation. We don't need to be believing that. So we'll be able to tell, probably mainly from a feeling, if it feels like an arrogant kind of thought, or I'm better than, or something that pumps me up in that kind of way, then I want to ignore that too. But if it's the kind that's a reassuring, like, pat on the back kind of thought, oh, you better believe it. Again, I'm so glad you said that. We should eat that like ice cream. Go, yes, that's who I am. That's who I am. I'm going to take that on. That I did an amazing job, but it's more like an acknowledgement, not a separation. Not something that's going to make me think I'm better than everybody. Yeah.
Oh, I love that so much. Thank you so much. And we're approaching the end of our time together, which went by so fast, and it's been so enjoyable. And I wanted to ask, what is something that you want to leave people with? Maybe something that we haven't been able to cover so far. And how can people find you? I know I'm going to share all of the links in the notes, but tell us one last thought and how to continue the conversation with you.
Fantastic. What I'd really love for people to hear and allow themselves to hear and to know is that You are the universe. Source. God's infinite being is the religious name. Awareness. Infinite intelligence. And what that means for you is that you have access to infinite intelligence and wisdom. You're brilliant. You're brilliant. You're genius. You are here to express your unique brilliance, wisdom, your unique, maybe even a quirky expression that you're actually, no matter how limited we might feel at times, we're actually free, and we're meant to be free, to live freely and fully as this infinite, divine, wise, magnificent expression of the universe. And so to allow us to know that that's who we are, one with everything, our shared being is love, peace, happiness, and fulfillment. And we are here to actually be the magnificence that we are in all ways. It's just, and the invitation is to allow yourself to know that and to be that, and to just fully express this goodness and peace and beauty and love that you truly are in all ways. That's my dream for all of us. We're just so totally living, this beautiful, inspired, expressive life. So that's that. And then, yes, for those who would like, if you have any questions from today, just want to chat or send me an email, they can reach me at Peggy-O'Neal, ONEAL.com. And I write an article once a week about everything we're talking about today. So it comes out in a weekly email that includes the article, but also any upcoming free workshops, programs I have. And so if they want to sign up for that newsletter, they can go to www.peggy-O'Neal.com and do that. So those are the two ways that I'll offer in addition to what you wind up posting. So
yeah,
love to hear from anybody.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
So grateful. I hope that everybody practices these practices that you taught and takes this information to heart, because I'm already just feeling that relief that you're talking about, just by allowing myself to hear your wisdom and to close my eyes and take it all in. Thank you so much for the contribution that you're making and the work that you're doing, and your healing words to all of us. I'm really grateful for the time that you spend with us.
Thank you, Elena. I'm very grateful to have been with you today.
And thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for being with us today.
Bye.
Bye.
That's it for today's episode of the Thought Leader Podcast. Visit our Thought Leader Talks YouTube channel to browse all episodes and show notes, and to continue the conversation. We love to hear your feedback, ideas, and success stories. And don't forget to subscribe for more expert information, insights, and inspiration. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on the Thought Leader Podcast with another relevant conversation you don't want to miss.